Wolverine is definitely the best X-Man.
Says you.
He totally is, shut up. But his track history in video games hasn't always been great. Now, as a tie-in with the movie X-Men Origins Wolverine, stars our very own Hugh Jackman. Jung, I didn't think I'd actually like playing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in a game, but he kind of adds a lot to the character.
That's true, and you know what else? That Hugh Jackman, so hot right now.
We haven't seen the movie yet, but we're told the game revolves entirely around it with some extra drama thrown into some very gory and beautiful cinematics.
You act out the game's two storylines in tandem. Until you beat the game, it can be kind of hard to work out what's going on, but they do move well together, showing Wolverine's past and present.
Developer Raven Software go a ways back, right back to the days of Hexen, Heretic and Soldier of Fortune, so you can see how their love of dismemberment carries on here. They're also quite familiar with Wolverine, having made numerous X-Men games and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It's quite a marvel.
Never stop moving, and you feel like a massive hero as Wolvie just shrugs off enemy bullets as if they were a mere annoyance.
He's a machine and no one can stop him, and unlike a Ninja Turtle, he's not afraid to use his weapons for their intended purpose, to slice and dice everything into as many pieces as possible. You can hurl enemies around and then lunge into them even before they've hit the ground, upon which you have the option of mashing their face into the ground, throwing them up for aerial combos, using one of your 4 abilities, performing a huge close combat move, or using an environmental object, or simply hurling them over the edge. Jung, I love a game that allows you to throw as many enemies off a cliff as possible and rewards you for doing it.
After last week's review of Flock, we know just how much you'd like to do that, bitch.
They deserved it, Jung, and you know it.
Wolverine's a rewarding game in general, especially if you go off the beaten track. And the boss fights! From riding the back of your enemy and blasting apart a half-built robot's head, you know, it's all just fun and there's so much variety. Battlegrounds change and fall apart all the time, and some boss fights go on for ages, such as the bout with Gambit.
Mix all that in with counter moves, upgrading of stats and abilities, and a giant robot fight, and you've got yourself some pretty tasty action. Another thing the game does well is surprises, whether it be traps or ambushes, or accidentally encountering an environmental object in the middle of a fight. There is the odd time where the game takes you into a stealthy approach and it doesn't really work, so it's good you're not forced to do it. It's not really Wolvie style anyway, Jung. You can't put that man in a cage.
X-Men fans will especially enjoy playing through Wolverine's defining moments, such as breaking out of the lab where his adamantium was administered. And there's no overuse of goons either. The game is perfectly balanced and you never get tired of smashing face. There's also some massive levels, including some where you just climb higher and higher.
Some locations do get reused, but once again, there's no stretching of gameplay here. They'll mix it up with a new boss or new enemies.
Most of the time, you'll feel like you're playing God of War as you button mash circle, move rocks into place, and climb along vines. At other times, you feel like it's the Force Unleashed as you recover from falls, dash about, and perform aerial moves. And at other times, you feel like it's Mad World as you slam enemies onto spikes or forklifts, only to have them squeeze off it if they're not pummeled enough to go quietly.
And at times you feel like you're playing Gears as you're forced to walk at a snail's pace while story is shoved down your earpiece.
Hang tight. I'll be there to give you... Ow! Ah!
It's kind of like being behind a slow walker.
Understood. This mission just got more complicated. Okay, it's time to take out the trash. Here must out.
Oh, it's the only part of the game I don't like, and it's barely worth mentioning, but I want to because it makes me cranky.
Yeah, that makes me cranky too.
Cranky! I know I'm a Wolverine fanboy, but that just means I want this character treated with respect. So, because it's a movie game, I was really worried about this. It was a really nice surprise, though. A great movie game. I loved every minute of it. I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
There's plenty of hours here, and even though the game ends kind of suddenly, and the camera can be a bit stubborn, you'll get your action fix out of Wolverine and then some. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Oh, that really hurts. Oh.